Here we are, Monster Motivator number 42. This is going to be a real fun episode. My girl April is going to bring the heat. That's all she knows. There's either both feet in or both feet out for you.
That's right.
Right?
That's
and I was
right.
just thinking back before, when I was setting up, that it's been 2 years now
That's right.
that I've known you
That's
because
right.
of the restaurant.
That's right.
2 years. Look how quick that goes.
Quick.
Don't blink your eye.
Okay.
So 2 years old. And here's what I'm excited about. I've known April for about 2 years. And when I got I knew nobody in the Murrieta area. Nobody. And she was probably one of the first people that just embraced me, adopted me, right? Right from Jump Street, right from day one. And if you don't know how I feel about this town, it's absolutely amazing town. And the chamber is absolutely the best chamber I've ever been involved with. East Coast, West Coast, doesn't matter. Absolutely phenomenal chamber. And this lady right here has a lot to do with that. And I want to share with you, she's going to share with you who she is, where she came from, where she's at, and where she sees herself going. And we're going to share her, she has an awesome business here in Murrieta. She's an entrepreneur, and she has more balls in the air than you can even imagine. So April, who are you?
Well, I am April Vidal. I've
Okay.
been in the city of Murrieta for 27 years.
Yeah, really?
Yes, 27 years. Started teaching out of my garage
Okay.
when I lived on a street called Falconer up in Falcons View off of California Oaks Road.
Okay.
And at the time we moved here, I had 2 children.
Okay.
Started teaching dance in my garage.
Okay.
And went to the city of Murrieta. Prior to it being the city, it was called CSA 143.
Okay.
For those of you that are watching that were back
Okay.
there that long ago, that you'd be familiar with that. And my husband and I actually started together
Okay.
teaching classes, and it has grown, and I can't even tell
So
you.
how, I'm going to try and pull this up on our phone because there's people that are going to jump on and
Oh,
maybe
sure.
ask questions.
Oh,
comments.
really?
Yes.
I didn't know
This
that.
is real, raw, and live.
Ooh, I'd love to be real raw and live.
Atta girl. Let's see if we can find this. So my question though is, let's start from the beginning. How did you get into dance? Have you been a dancer your whole life?
Okay.
What's the deal? And where were you born? Where did this all
Oh,
start?
we're taking it back
Yeah.
to embryo. The
Yes,
embryo. All
yes.
right. So I was born in Downey, California.
Okay.
And my mom and dad then moved to La Puente or Valinda, California.
Okay.
And at the age of just shy of 2 years old,
Okay.
my parents enrolled me in a dance class at a place called Dancers Workshop
All right.
in West Covina.
Okay.
And from then on, I took dance for several years. And then we moved to Ontario, California.
All right.
In Ontario, I was on dance.
How old were you then?
Oh, I was the middle of 8th grade.
Okay.
And I was actually the president of the ASV. So my mother.
Surprise, surprise.
So my mother would have to drive me
Okay.
back and forth. She worked for the school district still.
Okay.
So she would drive me, drop me off to my best friend's house.
Okay.
And I would continue school so I could continue because I had to say the speech at graduation for 8th grade.
Really?
Yeah, so I continued and got to do my speech. And
Okay.
I remember our theme in 8th grade was Color My World for graduation.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
they played that song and
So
everybody cried.
what did you get out of dance? How did that help you with your foundation? How did that help you? Or did it?
Well, you know, dance was great because anytime a talent show came up back in the day,
Right.
when I was young in elementary school or middle school, I was not shy
Right.
to try out.
Right.
It wasn't about whether I made it. It was about trying.
Okay.
So I was always
You just wanted to just do it. Just do it.
Absolutely. Ever
Okay.
since I was young, if there's something there's a challenge, I'd like to try it.
Where did that come from? See, here's what happens is your story, the things that we're going to share is going to help a lot of people out there break through their fear barriers, right?
Right,
And
right.
so many people are the opposite of us.
Right, that's true.
Thank God.
That's true. Yes.
Because they're afraid to jump, right?
Right.
They're afraid of what if.
Right.
But you're not, and it sounds like you weren't from the beginning. Where do you think that came from? Did you get support from your parents?
I would say definitely my mother and father.
Okay.
I had a very big mouth and I blah, blah, blah all the time.
Right.
And sometimes they would remind me not to do that, but a lot of times they let me go.
Depends on the situation.
That's right. And my parents were both very outgoing,
Okay.
very conservative, and very appropriate. I don't know how I ended up the way I did, but hi, Mom and Dad, I love you.
But they didn't put the reins on you.
No,
right? They
no.
let you be
They encouraged
who you were.
That's right. Anything I tried
Right.
or wanted to do or expressed that I had an interest in, they would say, go do it then. If you want to, are you going to talk about it or are you going to do it?
And see, I always say that's the greatest gift a parent can give, or an adult can give a kid, is that self-image.
Absolutely.
That strong, bulletproof self-image, because that's the real world.
Right.
Right? The EQ is much more important than the IQ once you get out of school.
That's right.
Absolutely. So that's where that came from, and you just ran with it ever since.
Yes.
All right.
Through high school,
Okay.
I was in every club imaginable.
Right.
I wanted to run the show all the time, and I learned through that how to work as a team.
Okay.
That I didn't always have to be the top or the best or the center.
Right.
You start learning as you become into those teen years how to utilize those strengths and weaknesses together as a group. And I think that's what then carried me into college with taking dance courses. But then I became a dental assistant. So I was then.
Wow. We did a left turn here.
I've always wanted to be a dental assistant because I had a fabulous dentist growing up that I didn't fear, but also I feared needles, but I never had a cavity. So on my first cavity, I flipped out and decided, because I have this fear, I need to overcome it.
Wow.
So I'm going to go to college and take all these courses. Yes.
That's why?
That's why I became a dental assistant.
That's completely polar opposite to most.
That's right.
Right? It's usually the other way around.
Right. What's interesting though is, over the years, then I became allergic to latex, highly allergic, and didn't know it, and ended up having to quit the profession because at the timing that I had to quit, they only used latex in the offices.
Well, what do you mean you didn't know it? Like, what were the symptoms?
When you put on the gloves, you don't just know you're allergic. At some point in your life, whenever you have an allergic reaction, a lot of times you just don't know you're allergic until you actually experience it. Right.
Okay.
So over a series of probably weeks, I would put on the gloves, get prepared either in oral surgery or taking x-rays at a pedo office for children. And I noticed that I started itching and scratching. But I kept putting them on. You're washing your hands, you're putting on gloves, and you probably put on, as many patients as you work with a day is as many pair of gloves.
You're probably wondering, like in the beginning, is it the soap?
That's
is it
right.
the water?
Exactly.
Trying to
determine what it was.
Yeah.
So as time went on, then we also would wear the mask and your safety glasses, so no debris would fly in and you're not breathing on the patient, obviously. And one particular day, I remember leaning over a patient, and the mucosa of my eye started to itch, but I don't know what the itch is, and I'm trying to do this. Now I've got the glove on, but I have glasses on, and I'm trying to do this, and the dentist looked up at me.
This is a reality show.
I know, yeah. The dentist looked up at me, and the eyeball was just like, ba-twang.
Really?
It was, so I left, my throat started closing up. It was a huge ordeal, and went into anaphylactic shock.
What? Really?
Yes.
That bad?
Yeah. So,
so you're in the emergency room? And
yes, with the tube down my throat, the whole bit, and I'm 5 months pregnant with my daughter Shayna.
Of course,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, of course.
You gotta make it interesting. You gotta make it interesting.
That's
Stop being boring.
That's right. That's right. But everything ended up fine. It was quick enough. We got me in, and from that point on, there were no more dancing dental assistants.
So you were moving in a different direction. But let me go back to high school. Were you a good student?
I was an average student. I was very good at language arts, obviously.
Things that kept your attention.
Yes,
because I think that's where we're so much alike. They lost my, it just didn't have enough for me. I was bored out of my, not a girl.
My son graduated as a math major from Cal Poly Pomona.
Okay.
That's
God
good enough. We got one in the family.
That's what we need.
That's right. That's right.
Check.
That's right. I actually started in summer school when we moved to Ontario. I started in summer school. Backtrack, wanted to get friends because I didn't know the area. And I could not imagine starting off my freshman year in high school with no friends. Oh no, I have to have people to talk to. So I went my mother put me right in summer school. She said, we need to look what your weaknesses are. She put me in math and I think there was a drama
Really?
class. So I did the math, and I didn't pay any attention like I should, but I made a lot of friends.
That's right. That priorities,
That's
baby.
right. And I started off my my freshman year very happy
Wow.
because I had friends, and I think that that is a lot of why we succeed as well. You need those connections, you need support.
Yeah.
And a lot of times sometimes you'll find you'll try things on your own and you can succeed
Yeah.
on your own, but it's that much better
Mm-hmm.
when you figure out a way to put yourself out there
Right.
and get that support that you need.
Also, here's the other thing I want to bring up because it's such a great point of what you talked about is especially, and I'm speaking from experience, is it's about your own level of awareness, right? And when you're a kid, it's really a lot has to do with the adults that are around you to identify that. So me and you, the last place, I'd rather have root canal done than sit in a math class, right?
That's right,
Now,
that's
honestly,
right.
since we're talking teeth,
Yes,
right?
never had a root canal.
Right.
Yeah.
I would rather have a root canal done than sit in math class.
Right.
Same with you.
Exactly.
But if you once you get into a world that works for you, it doesn't mean it's wrong. It
That's
doesn't
right.
mean. See, it's how we learn, and that's what I love to hit home because there's so many different types of intelligence, and when you look at it just one way, man, you're blocking so much of your world out, and whoever else.
That's right.
Because you were so excited to have friends because that's your oxygen.
That's
right.
right. That's
That
right.
becomes your oxygen.
That's right.
Right. But that's so successful in the real world. It just really is.
Right.
So now you get done. You're not doing the teeth anymore.
Correct.
Now what?
So at this point now, in Murrieta, had to quit my dental assisting job. Never stopped dance the whole time.
Okay.
Never stopped.
Never.
I took when I was young in West Covina, continued to use my own choreography and be in cheerleading, song leading, dance, drama, all those
What's your
things.
favorite dance?
My favorite style would be tap.
Yeah.
Yeah, tap.
Man, that's
Tap
some
is-
cardio right there.
Tap is in a class all of its own because of the sounds in the shoe. And for anybody out there that's a tapper that's never tried to drum, I suggest that you try drumming as well because you're probably going to be very good at it.
Really?
Yes,
Why?
because it's the rhythm, the rhythm that goes. Tapping is you break down your 8 count and so forth, and you can do the same with drumming. And you can create and do all your own things, and it's magnificent. Now I challenge you to tap and drum at the same time.
Now we're gonna get a reality
and
show.
I know a few that can do that. That's
We're gonna
right.
take that on the
That's
road.
right. That's right.
See, when I see tap dancers that really, I guess, are high level, it's like an unbelievable art. It's like they're skating on the stage.
Yeah.
It's like they're just
Fabulous.
It's wild.
I have some very, very close friends that are really going places right now with
Really?
tap. Yes,
Okay.
and dance. I was not that good of a student in school. Like I said, I was average. I excelled in some things, and I was very poor in in subjects. Math was probably my most difficult challenge.
Me too.
But I will say, if I didn't dance or have the support that I had, I would have done worse.
Right.
Because-
You had that foundation.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So dance can bring a lot: the focus, the energy, the balance.
Yes.
When you do stretching in dance, you
Hand-eye coordination.
everything. It helps with your schoolwork. So even if you're at your lowest in schoolwork, whether it be college, your master's, your doctorate, if you have incorporated some sort of dance, I don't care where you are in the world, even if it's your own creativity in your own home with nobody watching, it brings out something in you that can really help you focus. Wear yourself out completely.
Well,
now let's do some math.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like with me with sports. It saved me, right?
Yes.
Growing up, and now the gym is my zen.
That's right.
That's my world. That's so I get it.
Yes.
I get it. Just a different outlet, right?
Right.
Whatever works for you.
That's right.
So that was your savior.
Right. And even though I teach primarily children in our community, it's never too young or too old to start.
Okay.
So for somebody that's maybe struggling with their businesses, if you go out and you're doing all this networking, you're trying to create your business and who you are and your own identity in addition to who you are in your business, if you're not adding a little bit of dance in there, you're lacking something.
I'm going to add something else in. Check this story out.
Okay.
2 very good friends. back on the East Coast.
Okay.
Very, very successful. Very, very successful architect and commercial real estate developer.
Okay.
Very successful. And she was, she actually, Renee, the wife, was a pastor, ordained minister. She actually did me and my ex-wife's wedding.
Oh, okay.
Right? And she was a counselor. So, long story short, they were having their issues. So,
Okay.
when they went to their counselor, the counselor said, "What do you want? What do you want to do that you think you could do together that you would really connect?" And guess what it was? Ballroom dancing. It saved their marriage.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, or it had a lot to do with
That's right.
the connection. And here's, check this out. Now the husband was at first going, "What? You want me to do what?" He got so involved that he wound up doing competitions.
Oh, great.
Right?
I love to hear stories like that.
I mean, so it actually helped. I'm not gonna say it saved or not, but it helped. Let's put it this way: it helped them reconnect.
I would say saved is a good word, because once you've got your physical connection, then comes the mental connection. You're looking at each other, and you have to work together as the team.
Yes.
That I was talking about before. You can't do a marriage on your own.
Well, look at the guy from Shark Tank, Robert Herjavec. He's going to marry the girl that
That's right.
he's training with for 8 weeks. He's
That's how it
gonna,
happens.
yeah, because it's very sensual. It's very
That's right.
connective, right? It's very.
Did he say sensual? He
Yeah,
did.
he did. We're all real and live, baby. But
I love Dave.
But it's a connection that's probably you just can't match in other things.
Right.
But I know that story for sure to be a fact. So now, when did you actually start your own business?
Well, interesting. Let's see. When I was 17 and a half, I graduated from high school, and I was going to attend Chaffey College in Rancho Cucamonga. And I put an ad in the paper. Back then it was the Penny Saver.
Yeah, I remember.
Yes, way back when. And put an ad, and was, I was looking for ads, and I put an ad in that I could teach. I was looking for dance jobs. So this wonderful woman who owned a place called Olympic Studios on Foothill Boulevard at the time in Rancho Cucamonga, Diane, her stage name, who might be watching. I don't know. She's a great friend of mine on Facebook still.
And we do have people chiming in here,
fabulous.
so we're going to say hello.
Fabulous. So she took risks. She hired me. I was the youngest girl that she had hired. And I started teaching, and she didn't have a lot of opportunity for me to necessarily grow, because she already had her staff.
Her core.
Right. So she brought me in to start with the little ones.
Right.
And this is where the magic happens, because I truly believe because of her, she blessed me with the love of what I do now. She opened the doors for me, truly. She believed in me.
And so my keynote, so that was your Tommy.
That
was your Tommy.
Diane was my Tommy.
Right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I get you.
And when you gave that lecture or that speech at our Breakfast for the Chamber, that is actually who popped into my mind. You're giving me chills.
Me too.
Yeah, same thing.
Because it's real.
That's right.
You finally have somebody that's saying, "You're okay."
That's right. That's right.
You're probably better than okay.
Right.
And I'm going to show you why.
Well, and it's interesting. You talked about your Tommy bringing you to get new suits. She would take me to lunch once a week and talk with me and encourage me. And we never talked about the fact that I might be afraid. Maybe I was doing things wrong or not up to par. She never said that to me. She just kept taking me out and encouraging me.
Yes.
And we'd have a once a week kind of a nice lunch. And later in life, we became friends rather than just employer-employee. And what she did was she was offered a position teaching, bringing her studio classes also in addition to Park and Rec at Lions Club Recreation.
Okay.
So she said, April, on one of these wonderful lunches, she said, I don't have time for this. I need you to do it. It wasn't, would you like to?
Right.
I'd like to consider you. You're going to be doing this.
Right.
And I remember this, the eyes were bugging out.
Yeah.
And I was very
fear barriers, right?
Very fearful, but she was my boss.
Yeah.
And I loved her.
And your mentor and just
everything.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. So I went in and I said, so what do I do? She goes, well, you need to figure it out. I mean, like from scratch. Like, are you gonna just go call them and see what they want, and then you do it? I was like, oh, really? I mean, really, nothing.
Right.
She gave me nothing, but I know why she did it. Because that's why I'm here today.
Yeah, she gave you nothing, but she gave you everything.
That's right.
Right? She gave you nothing.
Figure it out.
And let's drive this home, because you know what I'm all about is your why. right?
right.
So when your why becomes bigger than you become unstoppable. You would walk through fire for her
That's
at
right.
that time.
That's
You
right.
would do whatever it took
Yeah.
not to let her down,
That's right.
right?
That's
So
right.
when your why becomes bigger than you,
That's right.
you absolutely become unstoppable. And we're so parallel because Tommy left me in the attorney's firm, right?
That's
Just
right.
left me.
That's right.
Sweating.
That's right.
Heart's pumping.
Well, and back then we wore lycra, so I was really sweating.
I mean, I was just,
Yeah.
where'd he go? What happened?
Well, so then I went there and I actually, I figured it all out.
Yeah.
I decided I was going to start very small.
Mm-hmm.
And I offered 2 classes. I offered 1 class for young and then 1 class for like age 7 to 10. Both classes, I had 30 students per class.
Wow.
Number 1, they allowed it. Number 2, they had the room for it. And number 3, my employer didn't mind because she said, the more you take, the more you make, the better we look.
How did you get all those people? Was it a lot of referrals or was
Not really. Back then, things were a little different. The city handled everything
Really?
still like our city does,
They would-
Right, we didn't have Facebook.
Mhm.
We didn't have cell
Yeah.
phones.
No, you didn't.
Right. If you were going to advertise something, you either had to hand out flyers, which, God, I don't even know how big the printers were
Right.
back then.
Right.
But basically, it was Diane probably letting people know within her studio, for instance, perhaps they're not ready for studio environment. She'd send them to me at a rec environment to start.
Okay, so they were sent to you.
Yes.
And then you would work with them.
That's right.
And
And
then,
then they could either go to Diane or perhaps somewhere else if that was their choice.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, the experience was fabulous. And from that point, still working for Diane, and then now I'm modeling for her as well,
okay.
which was really fun. We modeled for Redken for hair,
Oh, wow.
Puma for
So she had some major contacts.
oh, absolutely. She had one of her very best friends' name was Viva,
Uh-huh.
and it was Viva's Modeling. She had one location in Riverside that we were all connected with, and I'm not sure where the other locations were, but they were
Wow.
buddies. They were a great pair, and so we did these different things for her, and then after that, Daryl and I
Yeah.
became a thing,
Right?
and he was teaching at Chino Park and Rec.
Martial arts.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. And then I started cheerleading, dance with palms, ballet, tap, and did I do acrobat? I don't remember. But I did 5 different classes.
Wow.
Okay. Still teaching at Lions Club.
Had a girl.
Still teaching at Diane's.
Right.
Just graduated from college and just left Music Plus.
Wow.
Yeah, I left Music Plus and then became a dental assistant. That's when,
Yeah.
and then I did dancing in three locations.
Okay.
Chino Park and Rec, which I started my program.
Right.
So I went from Diane giving me the strength into trying it on my own in one location, opened another location, and then also became a dental assistant. And then we got married,
Wow.
and then we moved here. And this is year 27.
And then you
Started Miss April's dance.
Dance
Yes.
here. So through those years, obviously it's helped you out tremendously, right?
Yes.
But what have you noticed or seen or witnessed in little girls? Because you're going to work with them for
Mhm,
years, right?
mhm.
So what do you see as far as self-image, self-confidence, in different avenues? I mean, you have to be able to see these girls
Oh,
blossom.
absolutely.
Unbelievable.
Most girls that I've taught and boys. in
Oh,
our
you know what? Let's talk
yes,
about that.
a lot of boys.
Okay.
Most of them still are in contact with me. I've gone
Wow.
to wedding showers and weddings. I've gone to baby showers and seen,
Yeah, yeah.
held their babies and so forth. Right now, in my Mom and Me classes, I probably get half of each session.
Mhm.
Each enrollee, half of them. If there's 12, 6 of them, all of those girls either went to school with my children and took dance from me.
Okay.
So
Wow.
I've seen that where now they had that good experience. They want their children to dance, but now their
Generations.
children get to be with me.
Right.
And boy, do I feel old when they leave.
You're
Yeah,
like,
I'm like,
what? Wait a minute,
Yeah,
let me check
they're like,
the
Miss
time
April,
here.
do you remember me? And I look at the roster. Well, their name's not familiar because most of them are married.
Right.
So I don't know the name, and I
Right.
said, I'm looking, I said, I see something like Ehil Curran Pom Poms, and I said, oh my gosh. So I used to volunteer, and I had 163 volunteer pom-pom girls,
Right.
4 boy mascots. We participated in our Veterans Day Parade a few times here in Murrieta, and I would go every Thursday after school and run a program free of charge, just because my children went to that school, and it was a way for me to be connected to the school and give them some of a taste of the arts, which our schools back then didn't have money to support.
Right.
So now our school district is doing fabulous with
Right.
with
So
a
you had to
lot
figure
of
out how to
arts.
do this on a shoestring
Exactly.
budget.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
So now you're in Murrieta and you're growing your business. Where are you at today with it? What's going on?
Okay, so today I have a bad knee, I have a bad back, my neck always hurts, I'm tired, but I keep going.
Right. Right.
And you know why? Because I love it.
Right.
Right now where I'm at is looking at the future. I'm living the present, but I'm also looking at the future, because we all know that when something is physical,
Yes.
your body starts to break down, and you can only
There's
do
no
so.
window.
That's right. And so I don't want to say my time is coming that I'm going to stop, but I do know that my time is coming, and it's already kind of evolved where I'm slowing down.
So,
a little
but let me understand. So when you do a class,
Yes.
you actually do it.
It's me teaching.
So you do it.
I do it.
Really?
Yes, I'm doing it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you didn't.
No, I didn't.
Yes. And the beauty about what I do, and I will tell you, this valley has many studios, and I want to say we have over 20 studios now, but I'm
Really?
not.
That many?
Yeah, we've got a lot of studios. Some are very big. Some have been on national TV. Some are very small, and they stay quite quiet in the in the community.
Yeah.
But they're running, and they're great. And I haven't visited every single studio here, but I visited several. And what I like most about my job, aside from the love of dance, the love of kids, the love of seeing an adult take a class and go, oh my gosh, I've never danced, this is fabulous. Aside from that is I'm different. Studios all have a lot of the same path. They do, most studios, not all, most studios do competitions. Most studios, you have your big giant recital, one recital at the end, and you go somewhere and you have a big giant, fabulous, professional evening. Mine is about community and feeling very
Like family.
oriented. Yes, and I'm not saying that the studios also don't have that.
Right.
They have that.
Right.
But because I'm Park and Recreation, I'm not my own brick and mortar, and I am subcontracted out through the city of Murrieta. And I love what I do because I can be friends, and I am, with many studio owners. That to me in itself is a blessing, that I can encourage all of them as well as myself, for all of us to help each other.
So it's really creating, not competing.
That's right.
Right?
That's
It's
right.
creating, not
Very
competing.
eloquent. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
So
I never heard that before.
yes.
Me?
Yes, absolutely. Biggie on the back of your
There's
shirt.
always something new.
Yes,
There's
yes,
always
yes.
something new. I've never heard it.
But
But-
sometimes studios, in this world of business, no matter what you do, you're always going to have competition.